Hello guys, welcome back to the Chess in Pakistan channel. Today I'll be showing you guys the game that helped me reach 1900 Blitz on chess.com. I hope you guys enjoy. So this game starts off with the King's Indian defense. The idea in the King's Indian defense for black is to quickly castle short side and then try to attack black with these pawns on the king side, or expand with a6 and b5 on the queen side depending on what white does. So I choose a bit of a sideline here. E4 is still the main line, but after he plays d6, I go for this really obscure move, knight ge2. The idea behind knight ge2 is to put this knight on g3, keeping the f pawn mobile and keeping prospects for the h pawn to move down the board with h4, h5 and h6. So black continues with castles. I continue my plan with knight g3. After knight g3, black plays b6. The idea behind b6 is to put the bishop on b7 or a6 depending on what I do, and it's also a move to keep this bishop on another diagonal, since it doesn't have a really good diagonal on this side of the board. As if it goes, let's say for example, if it went out here, I just play f3 and it has to go all the way back. So let's go back to the game. b6, and I decide to begin hostilities on the king side with h4. Here's pawns with bishop b7. I play h5. No, I play f3 here. The idea behind f3 is to bolster the e4 pawn so that I don't have to move it too fast, and to keep h5 as I have h5 whenever I want to play it, since I realized that he doesn't want to play h5. So I just kept it in my back pocket until I was ready. e6, h5, and then he lashes out with c5. And c5, generally in these structures, means that you've absolutely killed this bishop here. This bishop will now be dead for the rest of the entire game, and watch what happens. d5, ed, cd, queen e7, bishop e2, blocking this file in case there were any tactics here. I just wanted to make sure that my bishop developed. I didn't want to put it on c4 since there could be a6, b5 in the long run with a tempo on my bishop, so I kept it here. Then he goes for knight fd7, trying to play f5. Bishop e3, he does not play f5 for some reason. a6, idea b5, c5, knight c4 with the idea to drop a knight on d3. I play a4, preventing that idea for the time being, but he could try to start the idea after putting this knight here. Black jumps his knight to the center with ideas of knight with ideas of c4 after he plays rook f8. And here I play queen d2 with the classic idea of trading this bishop off. He plays c4 here. I want you to pause and try to find something that allows white to win a pawn. Okay, for those who pause the video, f4 here allows white to win a pawn, since if this knight for example drops back, there's this really nice move, bishop c4, which allows you to win a pawn with an open c file where you can just castle short side and just pummel him down this file, since you haven't committed your king anywhere. You could also, in this position, if you were paying attention, there's also the move e5. And after e5, if he takes, the idea is f5, which is very common in these Benoni structures, where you want to close the e file so that there's no counterplay on this file, and you keep attacking on the king side in this portion of the board. Anyways, this did not happen in the game because I did not have time to calculate the complications, though I did know the idea of e5, f5. I played bishop g4 with the idea that if he plays this, I have provoked a weakness on f6, and he does play this. So I just go into bishop h6 to trade the bishops, so that I can get my queen in there. For example, if he trades here, this is a really bad trade for white, really bad trade for black, as it allows me to keep an attack going on the h file after I take here. Going back to the game, bishop h6, bishop takes h6. This was not played in the game, and instead knight bd7 was played. After knight bd7, I took, opening the h file up, and after I took on the h file, he obviously took back with the h pawn, since if he took back with that, he would just have an open king, which I could attack with moves like, let's say he takes back with the knight. If he takes back with the knight, there's just a simple move, knight f5, which wins a piece. Okay. So he took with the h pawn, I took on g7, takes with the queen to stop my queen from coming to it, to stop my queen from coming there, since if he takes with the king, I get queen h6, he goes there, and then there's this really nice move, queen h7, king e8, queen h7, king e8, don't mind my mouse flip, f4, with the idea to attack g7, as once the knight moves, it stops guarding the g6 square. So this could have happened. So which is why he didn't take with the king, he took with the queen. After he took with the queen, I cast the queen side with the idea to potentially play f4 in the future, and maybe put this rook on h6, bring this rook over here, and just mate him down this file. Anyways, he plays knight c5 with a very primitive idea to just give this check here and try to win my queen. I move my king over to b1, usually a general improving move which keeps your king out of dodge. He plays b4. I take twice, which the engine says is an inaccuracy, and the game is slightly better for black now at 0.7. But I thought the idea behind this was that even if he gets to go to b3, let's say he plays knight b3 here directly, I can just go queen h6, offering a trade. And this is exactly what happened in the game. He gives me a check, I go over to c2, he takes here, I take back with the bishop. The idea is that if he tries to move his queen anywhere, I just have mate here. I have mate incoming in a few moves essentially, or he loses his queen. So rook a1, rook, king c2, rook takes d1. I take back with the bishop since my rook protects my queen. And if I would, let's say I take back here, like all you 600s, I lose a queen, and I lose the game. Anyways, I take back with the bishop. He puts his knight back on c5 because he had no idea what else to do. I take on d6, attacking this bishop, which like I said at the start of the game, it's been dead the entire game. It had no prospects here. Like it can go back to a8 or a6, and on a6 it stares into a pawn. Anyways, opponent lunges into d3, supported by the other knights. I take here, and opponent tries to be very fancy with this move, but he's just in fact losing a piece after queen g7, takes, and rook f1. Opponent then goes knight e d3 with the idea to just annoy me with since he has the threat of rook b8 coming with a check here. So I just stop that in its tracks by playing knight d6, as if he goes here, I have this move. Anyway, so he takes on d1, I take back, and the game ends. Since I am up decisive amount of material, and black resigns, and this is how I reached 1900. If you guys want to see a game I drew against a national master over the board, like the video and subscribe, and I'll be back to show you that game. Yeah, cheers.